But now it's time to have a conversation on E-levy. Yes, the one that a lot of you don't like to hear. Isaac Amoako is a member of the E-levy Technical Committee at the GRA, and he joins us for a conversation. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I'm back.
It's good to have you. So on Friday, which was the 1st of July, we migrated onto the common platform because we were told that this was going to be done in phases, and we've had this conversation over time. I realized on social media that there was a bit of, I don't want to call it fake news, but there was a bit of misunderstanding on a statement released by the GRA, and there were some people who were saying that we were now going to be charged for putting money on our own wallets. The GRA has come out to clarify that, but for those who are not aware of what the common platform is going to do exactly and why we have done this in phases, do you mind just rehashing and going over the point again?
Thank you very much. So the common platform is a digital platform that has been built by the Ghana Revenue Authority for charging entities to connect digitally onto that platform. Now, that platform, in the first phase, we told the public that the charging entities were charging the e-levy on their own internal platform, and for that matter, they didn't have visibility across. So if somebody is due an exemption, because they were operating in silos, there was no possibility of knowing whether somebody is due the exemption. So they were charged, then after they request for a refund. But once the common platform is operating fully, we don't expect these kind of charges to take place. But it also operates on the basis that every customer or every person on the platform has updated either their Ghana card information if they are individuals, and then taxpayer identification number if they are corporate entities. So if you do not have an identity, you can't enjoy the exemption that the state is granting you, because the state wouldn't want to give an exemption to an unknown person. The person needs to be identified. So once the common platform is operating functionally and fully, when you send the first 100 Ghana cedis that is granted, you realize in the phase one, the exemption was being enjoyed per wallet, per account. So if you have 2 wallets, you basically enjoy 200 Ghana cedis a day. With the common platform, you enjoy only the 100 Ghana. You won't enjoy 200. If you have multiple accounts, you would only have 1 for your entire person for the day. So
I'm sure this doesn't excite a lot of people.
It doesn't, yeah, because people are going to more or less lose out.
Okay.
The second one, which will excite them, is that now when you send to a number or an account that you own and you have updated both numbers, then you don't get
with the Ghana card.
With the Ghana card for individuals, and then with the taxpayer identification number for corporate. If you have not done that, you will be charged. So if you have done that successfully, then you don't get to be charged when you transfer amongst yourself. Then there's a third one. Those who operate as merchants. By merchants, that means they receive payment for goods and services through one of these payment service providers, MTN, Momo, debit, credit card, anybody who receives payment for goods and services through that platform. Now there's a third leg we are implementing, which was not implemented during the first phase. Now, if the merchant is not registered with the Ghana Revenue Authority for income tax or VAT, then your customers are going to suffer e-levy.
No, say that again.
So we have an exemption in the law known as specified merchant payments. But this specified merchant payment is a way the government is using to more or less expand the tax net. But it works this way. If the merchant is registered with the state for income tax or VAT, then his customers who purchase from him don't get to pay e-levy. If not, the customers pay the e-levy. To make the merchant business, one, expensive, and also to inconvenience his customers, so that the customers would look for somebody who is prepared to join the state called Ghana and contribute to taxation. That is the objective.
So how do prospective customers identify a merchant who has registered and is paying income tax?
Simple. In the course of doing the transaction, you get to the point where you'll be asked to provide your PIN. Now, for those who use Momo Pay and those USSD, that's basically how it works. There's a point where they will ask you for your PIN. In asking for your PIN, they will display to you the cost of the item you are purchasing. If there are charges from the telcos, it will be displayed to you as well. At that point, if it is the person is not registered for the income tax or VAT, the tax amount would be a figure other than 0.
Okay.
That is the point that you get to know his.
Let's make it more practical. So we're told that mobile money merchants are not supposed to. I'm not supposed to give the money to deposit into.
Let's differentiate between the vendors, the agent, which sometimes we also call them merchant from this particular merchant I'm referring to.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So let's make it easy for us to understand, because I'm a bit confused. So when you say merchant, in this instance, who do you refer to?
When we say merchant, we don't mean mobile money vendors. We don't mean mobile money agents. No.
Okay.
We mean somebody who is selling.
Okay, so that makes sense. So if I walk into a shop and I purchase an item and I say I'd like to pay via Momo, and they have this POS device that allows them to activate the process, and I receive a notification on my phone, if that person hasn't registered with the GRA, then besides the e-levy amount that I'm not even supposed to pay for e-levy on that, am I?
If the person is registered.
So once I see a message indicating that I have to pay e-levy, it means the person is not registered.
Yes, that's the information we are giving out.
Okay, so that makes sense. So that is how I can. So I have the choice to either go through with the transaction or abort
stop
it
at that point. Yes.
Interesting. So since you went onto the common platform on the 1st of July, what has the level of compliance been? I know the GRA cautioned the charging entities that, I mean, there was going to be some repercussions if they didn't come onto the platform.
Yes.
Have all of them come onto the platform
No,
as we speak?
not all of them. Some are still joining.
What is causing the delay?
Or some have written to us that their internal system is still under. Yeah. So we should give them some reprieve so that, I mean, some say by end of this week they will join. Others are asking for extension. So we've received formal requests from some of these charging entities.
I'm glad you're here this morning. So if you're somebody who has multiple mobile money accounts and you have connected all of them or updated all of them with your Ghana card, and you're still having issues being charged once you do a transfer from one personal account to the other, you should understand why that is happening, because we are told that not all the charging entities have merged onto the common platform. So that clearly is a challenge. But for those that have merged, what has been the level of compliance?
Even for those that have merged, there is some hitches from some of the charging entities. So, you know, this platform is dependent on the charging entities also configuring their internal system. So if a charging entity fails to fully update all the processes we've discussed, then his customers might suffer some inconvenience so far as they are not fully done with the configuration at their end. For us, GRA, we are good to go. Those charging entities who are done 100% are not having any issue.
So, I mean, is it cast in stone that by the end of this week we should, because then it means that a lot of people are still going to have to suffer being charged for, you know, doing transactions between, I mean, from one personal account to the other, and the stress of calling your charging entity and making a complaint.
I am a mathematician, so I don't say a lot of people. I would say some of the people. Since I have a large chunk, I'm looking at more than, so far we're expecting more than 50 charging entities to be on the platform. As I might check yesterday, we have more than 40. So in percentage terms, about 70–80% are on the platform. So the 20 who are not a lot of people. They are some few people.
No. What I meant by a lot of people, I was saying that there may be people who are having issues being charged.
Yes.
So
that may continue for a while, insofar as the charging entities are still configuring their internal system. So once you encounter such discomfort, you call your charging entity to complain.
Well, how far have you gone with third-party transactions?
What are you calling third-party transactions, if I may ask?
What does a GRA call third-party?
We don't have anything like that. We don't have anything like that.
So it's not allowed?
I don't know what you mean by third-party transactions, because we don't have anything like that on the E-levy.
Okay. So clearly we've established previously that you're not allowed to go to the merchant and say, put this amount on another person's mobile money on my behalf. We've been told that that's not allowed.
That's not permissible.
Yes. And we had, the last time I had one of your colleagues on the show, we actually had a mobile money agent calling to say, in fact, no, not calling. My colleague went out and he admitted that when they were engaged by the telcos to do this mobile money business, they were told that they were not allowed to do that.
Yes.
Okay. But he suggested that based on what has been the practice over time, would there be any considerations, or we are still saying that it's a no-no for that?
It's still a no-no, because the agreement they have with the charging entities states clearly. You can download that of some of the major telcos. It's clearly in there that you're not supposed to do that. And also following the Bank of Ghana Know Your Customer guidelines on anti-money laundering. Even when you go to the banking hall, you send a driver to go and deposit your money. They always want to have information on the third party captured, so that when there is dispute, you can trace all the parties that are involved in this transaction. If I go to the agent, give money and walk away, along the line, if the money doesn't get to the destination, when you call your charging entity, there's no record of you.
It's great that you mentioned the bank instance where provision is made for the third party, and that's what I'm asking. Yes. I mean, we've been doing this, we implemented this, we're going on to the common platform, which is not fully integrated yet, and I want to believe that there have been consultations, negotiations, and that's why I asked how far with third-party negotiations, because some have third-party transactions, because some have said, look, it's something that happens. There are people who may genuinely need the mobile money agent to send money on their behalf. Is there room, is there provision for that? So
let's understand the role of every state institution. GRA is not into anti-money laundering, especially in this particular space. There is an institution that does that, that's the Bank of Ghana. Because they've been to the specific instance of where their rules on anti-money laundering.
You're talking about the E-levy implementation. You're part of the
for E-levy.
I'm asking if anything like that has come up in your discussions, in your review of the processes so far, and how people have come with feedback, and if there's any room. So
for us, we operate with other sister institutions. If the law says it is not permissible, we agree. It is not permissible. So customers are not supposed to do that. First, because there is an agreement between the agent and their telco that they are not supposed to do that. Two, there is a KYC from the BOG that says you shouldn't do that. So customers are not supposed to do that. Now, the next question is, how do you enforce? All these sister state institutions have to join, because GRA's business is not going to enforce people not to get involved in anti-money laundering. We've also talked to the charging entities. Can we use technology to enforce? We are looking into...
I was coming to that because your colleague I had the last time when we had this discussion, a month after the E-levy's implementation, he mentioned something about a certain system that will check the radius of the device.
Geofencing.
Yes, so the device that is sending and the device that is receiving, to be sure that they're within a certain radius. Have you kick-started that?
No, that wouldn't be done by us. That should be done by the charging entities. So we've talked to them if they could explore the possibility of using technology to mitigate.
And what's their response? Have they started that?
I don't think any of them have started, but at least they are aware that the government is uncomfortable, that we are having people having to move their transfers as a result of change of behavior because of the E-levy.
They're trying to avoid.
To avoid, So we've engaged them. I believe if we really have to do it, all the parties, that's the ministry, the Bank of Ghana, the charging entities, we all have to agree that that is the way forward. Because if one charging entity implements and another doesn't, that becomes a competitive advantage of one charging entity over the other. So it needs to be holistic. I understand the Chamber of Telcos are also aware. So if we have to do it, I believe we have to do it together. We don't have to let one start and leave the other. All of them have to go in together and implement.
This morning, you've been very firm on sticking to your job as GRA and not trying to comment about any other issues. But who will, because the GRA, you receive revenue, right?
We are responsible for receiving revenue.
Receiving the revenue for the state, on behalf of the state. So who, in this whole e-levy implementation, who will announce to us how much we've received so far? Who will?
So let me quote the law for you.
Okay.
So the E-levy Act, Section 7, which says submission of reports. If I may read.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Section 7.1, the Ghana Revenue Authority shall submit to the minister here in this law refers to Minister of Finance, quarterly reports on the performance of the revenues from the electronic transfer levy not later than 1 month after the end of each quarter.
Okay.
The minister, Section 2, the minister responsible for finance shall submit to Parliament a report on the funds accruing from the electronic levy transfers. A, in the mid-year review of the budget of that financial year, covering the first half of the financial year, and B, within 2 months after the end of the financial year, covering the second half of the immediately preceding financial year. So
okay, and so
the position of the law.
And so first quarter means first quarter
of the year.
Of the year, but this one, considering when we started.
So it means that it will be due in after the second quarter.
After the second quarter. So you would forward it to the minister would say it in his, okay, so that's just an answer for all of you who want to know how much you've been able to accrue. We know that there was a publication by Gabi Asari-Ochedako on the fact that we've not been able to accrue what we wanted to. We don't know the exact figures, so but at least we know that the target has not been met. He says we're doing about 10% of it, and so we know that's why the IMF came in and all that. But that's not for Mr. Amoako to answer. I'm just giving you some information. So for those of you who are still wondering, well, the law has been quoted. You need to exercise a bit of patience and wait for the GRA to forward to the minister, for the minister to forward, to read it to Parliament in the mid-year budget review. But is there any other thing you'd like our audience to know on this particular phase of the e-levy implementation? So
yes, for every new system, you don't have it 100% when you try. So we started on Friday. Today is day 5. We've received some customer complaints. We want the public to be patient. If you receive anything that you're not supposed to, if you're charged that you're not supposed to be charged, please report to your charging entity. If you are still not having enough response, then you can refer to the GRA on our toll-free number 0800 900 110, 0800 900 110. That is if you are not getting the resolution from your charging entity. But your first point of call is your charging entity for some either wrongful charges or some other thing you don't understand.
All right. So there's a question on our live Facebook stream, and it's from Aliu Musa. He says, if you go into a shop to buy, you will pay VAT after the purchase. Are you going to pay e-levy as well? If that is so, is that not double taxation? I'm sure he joined the conversation midway. So just rehash the points, just to answer this question on people who pay via Momo when they go to shops to purchase items.
So on his direct question, he says if the person is registered for VAT, the law has exempted such a person. The law says that if the seller, who we call in the law merchant, is registered for VAT or income tax, then the customers need not be passed on the e-levy. So that has been protected. Unless the person is charging the VAT wrongfully, he's not registered for the VAT on our side, but he's telling the public that he is. That is misleading, and if such a customer is found out, we will deal with that customer by law. But in the e-levy law, those who are already registered for income tax and VAT, their customers don't get to pay e-levy.
So, I mean, in simple terms, if you go to a shop and you pay via any electronic means and you receive a notification and you see e-levy and you're being charged and you don't see 0, it means that that particular company or that particular person's business is not registered. And so you either, it's your choice to go ahead to pay, or you find another person who is registered, and so the e-levy will not be. But on the side of the law, businesses must register and pay income tax.
Yes.
So as responsible citizens, what do you expect from us when we visit shops where we are being charged the e-levy?
You could take the advantage when you see the fact that they are not registered, because you are getting an e-levy amount, and report to us through the 0800 900 that I have been at this shop, this is the name of the shop, and I am being charged e-levy. Please, GRA, these are the details of the customer. This is even the number they've advertised on their shop. Please take these details and let your compliance team follow up.
You're not able to give us figures on how much we accrued, but are you able to tell us if there have been a reduction in transactions over the time?
Won't be able to do that either.
But is that stated in the law, or you just won't be able to do that?
I won't be able to do that because we've asked the charging entities to report on each month's transaction a month after. So for transactions that happened in May, Common Platform was not available. We couldn't have seen. So it lies on the charging entities to report to us. Now, until we put all charging entities who are compliant by the law together and do our analytics, we wouldn't see the bigger picture. And it takes a bit of time to finish with the analysis, because it ended last week, Thursday. We are receiving, some are late filers, so they are filing late. Then our analytic team would now put the reports together and see the pattern. But whilst we wait, BOG also have the responsibility of reporting the monthly performance of mobile money on their website. So for those who are still eager, they can go to BOG and leave GRA for now.
Isaac Amoako is a member of the E-levy Technical Committee. Isaac, I'll keep you in studio because I know that people will be calling in and there will be questions. But there's some flooding in major parts of Accra, just for you to know, so that you protect yourself as you step out this morning. But while we're talking about the E-levy, let me just let you know, the E-levy will not be scrapped despite the IMF bailout, and this is according to government, okay? So the Finance Ministry has disclosed that government will not terminate the 1.5% levy on electronic transactions despite its application to the IMF for economic assistance. This was contained in a statement from the ministry on Tuesday addressing key questions regarding government's ongoing engagement with the fund. Regarding the controversial levy, the ministry explained that government will add the proceeds from the levy to the support from the IMF in order to shore up the country's economic fortunes. Addressing the question of whether the levy will be scrapped, the ministry said, quote, "No. The IMF lending to Ghana will be for balance of payments of support, i.e. to shore up the international reserves. Quote, government is committed to ensuring the smooth operationalization of all taxes, including the e-levy, to ensure that in addition to the IMF's resources, government can continue to support its developmental goals on its own while ensuring that tax to GDP ratio increases to the peer range of 16% to 18%. It continued, that's the statement by the Ministry of Finance. An IMF-supported program is likely to encourage the government to investigate the factors hindering the success of the e-levy, including by providing technical assistance if needed, and come out with strategies to improve it. The Finance Ministry also noted that other tax measures could be considered for the medium term. So there's more to that story on mydrawingline.com, just by way of information, because we are discussing the e-levy. Government says, yes, we are going to the IMF, but no, we are not scrapping the e-levy. So we'll be putting up our numbers there quickly, and kindly join the conversation. Let me know what you have to say. If you have any questions for Mr. Amoako, just stick to the technical issues and GRSOs, and also let me know where you are and the situation with the floods. But while I wait for you to call, hello Ghana, happy moment is here. I'll be back to tell you more about something that's happening with regards to the World Cup and how you can be part of the happy moment. But for now, let's hear your calls. Well, let's storm World Cup Qatar 2020 with Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks, and Awake Drinking Water from Casapreco Company Limited. Simply buy your favorite Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks, and Awake Drinking Water. Text the 4-digit unique number on the neck of the bottle to short code *780# option 2. Yes, *780# option 2, and follow the prompts on all networks for free. Be one of the lucky winners to this year's World Cup in the monthly draw. You can also win TVs, fridges, microwave ovens, mobile phones, home theaters, free drinks, and more instantly. Please don't waste time. Grab a bottle of Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks, and Awake Drinking Water, and let's storm Qatar this World Cup. This promotion is on the NLA Caritas platform, and this advert is FDA approved. Terms and conditions apply. Now, a person who is not required to register for VAT may voluntarily apply to be registered. A voluntary applicant shall be registered as a taxable person where the Commissioner General is satisfied that the person has a fixed place of abode or business, or reasonably believes that the person keeps proper accounting records related to any business activity carried on by that person, and the person submits regular and reliable tax returns, or reasonably believes that the person is a fit and proper person to be registered. And we'll take your calls now, and I'll be back to tell you more about what's happening. Ray joins us. Hello, Ray. Where are you calling us from? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Do I have Ray from Aplau?
Yeah, this is Ray from Aplau.
Hello, good morning, Ray. Can you speak up a little, please?
Yeah, good morning. I'm listening to you.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I want to share my thoughts on E-levy.
You want to share your thoughts on?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Please speak up.
Yeah, I want to share my thoughts on the E-levy.
Please go ahead.
Well, on E-levy.
Please go ahead. Hello? Well, looks like we lost him there. We have Michael from Dansaman. Hello, Michael. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, so it's about E-levy. We still have a lot of inconsistencies. We are registered company, we are VAT registered, and we have a merchant number which is linked to our company account. So day in, day out, we pull to do transactions. Now all of a sudden, anytime we are pulling money from, since the Friday, we're pulling money from the company account to the mobile wallet, we are charged E-levy. It doesn't make sense.
You're charged the E-levy?
Yes. And when you are making a transaction from your personal mobile money, paying to our Momo Pay, the merchant, the 6-digit merchant code, there is E-levy charge on that, which shouldn't be.
And this started after the migration or the integration on the single?
Yeah. I noticed on the weekend.
Okay.
And
all right.
I just tried one more time before even calling you, and it's the same problem.
Okay. Isaac, did you get his concerns? Okay. All right. We will address it shortly. Thank you very much, Michael, for calling.
All right, thank you.
We have Muhazi calling us from Enum. Hello, Muhazi. Let's hear you.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for adding me.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to find out, as a clarification, which is in the public domain, that the those mobile money vendors, whenever they are transacting, they are going to be added to the e-levy so that they will charge. So anybody who go there to do business with them can also pay the e-levy, or they will also pay the e-levy. I want to find out whether it is true or not.
When you say business with them, what exactly do you mean?
Yeah, what I mean is that I heard it that they themselves were complaining that very soon the vendors themselves are going to be charged with the e-levy.
Okay.
So I want to find out how true it is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for calling, Muhazi. Do we have another call on the line? Oh, well, while we wait for more calls, you can take Michael's question and then address Muhazi's.
Yeah, so Michael, I would advise you quickly call your charging entity and give out the details of the transaction so they can go through and see exactly what is happening. Without knowing the details behind it, will not be able to know why you are being charged. According to you, you have a merchant number and then you have linked it to your company, but you're being charged. Normally, if you have a merchant number, it means that that merchant number on the platform of your charging entity should have your taxpayer identification number if it is corporate. If it is not corporate and it's an individual that is behind it, even if it is one of the directors, and they have used their Ghana card. But when you go to the company's account, they've used the taxpayer identification number. Ghana card, TIN number is not a match. The company is a different entity legally from the director's Ghana personal number. So if a director moves funds from his bank account to a company that he's a director of, no, he'll still be charged because the company is seen as a different person and the director is also seen as a different person. It is only
so in this case, how do you address it? If you are the same person and you want to be identified as the same person?
It is not possible.
Okay.
Because the law says so.
Okay.
The individual is a director in his own right. The company as a legal entity is a human, another entity in its right. The law doesn't permit that.
Okay.
So you can't do that.
Okay, let's take...
That is assuming.
Assuming, yes, of course. So let's respond to Muhazi's concern about...
will mobile money vendors be charged now?
Okay, so Muhazi, straight to the point is a no. Let's hear from Abdul in Kumasi. Good morning to you, Abdul. Let's hear you, sir.
Please, I want to share my thoughts on the e-levy.
Please go ahead.
Please, I wanted to want the Minister of Finance the past month, the e-levy that would be good and why they are...
Abdul, hello Abdul. Sorry, I can hardly hear you. Can you speak loudly and clearly?
I said that I wanted to know the amount of money that they had on the e-levy last month and why they are sending to the IMF.
Okay, so Isaac cannot answer that question. He's not here to represent government, and he's a member of the technical committee of the GRA. We've explained earlier, and he's quoted the law, that per the law, the GRA is supposed to report to the finance minister, giving details on how much we've accrued quarterly. The finance minister will let us know through Parliament when he delivers the mid-year budget review. And so that's to answer that question. Michael in Kaswa, good morning. Let's hear you.
With the flood,
okay.
I think we have to blame ourselves for the flood. I don't blame the government. I don't blame the past government. It looks like we are all putting things in order for the flood. That is my understanding. But with the e-levy, the government is implementing the e-levy, and now the government is going to IMF. But my understanding is the e-level will help the economy, to boost the economy. But now implementing the e-levy, now government is going to IMF, which is which?
Did you just join the show? Because I read a statement from the Ministry of Information. The story is on myjoyonline.com. You can go and read it. But basically what government is saying is that yes, we are going to the IMF, but no, we are not scrapping the e-levy because it will help us, deal with our general economic situation. The IMF support is to help us with our international reserves. So Well, that's it. That's what government is saying this morning, Michael. Thank you for joining the program anyway.
Thank you. All right.
So, yeah, the last person who called from Kumasi, I answered that question on what government is earning so far. But finally, before you go, that is if you're not receiving any calls in relation to the e-levy, what should we expect as we move forward in the coming days with regards to the e-levy, and when we should see a final integration? You've mentioned that about 80% of the charging entities have migrated onto the common platform. There are some 20% who've written to the GRA saying that we have a bit of internal issues, give us some time. But when is the GRA saying that, look, this is the real deadline, we're not going to extend it again after this time?
In fact, we haven't extended it for anyone.
Okay.
It's still required to integrate to the common platform. We will be issuing out our official letters to those charging entities and refer to the sections of the law that make it an offense not to have come on board, because we've given them enough time. From 1st of May, we didn't join the common platform because there was the same concern from some charging entities that they are trying to configure their internal system. So for the GRA, there's no extension. Every charging entity is supposed to be connected. If the notices go out and they're still not connected, then we would have to resort to the legal sanctions in the law.
All right, do we have any other caller on? If we do not, do we have any caller? All right, okay. So I will take a quick breather here. When we come back, we'll be doing more on the floods and also pick your thoughts on what we've been discussing this morning on the strike by the 4 teacher unions and also the floods happening in Accra. But for now, thank you so much, Isaac. Isaac Amoako is with the technical committee implementing the e-levy. Do stay. We'll be back with more.